Friends, this is Hariprasad Menon and you are watching my YouTube channel Logical Trading. This channel is all about stock market. I will be explaining various aspects of stock market like technical indicators, terminologies, fundamental analysis of a stock and many other aspects of stock market. Videos in this channel will be available in English as well as in Malayalam, that is my local language. In today's video, I am explaining various concepts related to PE ratio. As you are aware, PE ratio is one among the ratio which is most widely used, which help you to determine whether the current price of a particular stock is overpriced or underpriced. This is not the sole ratio that can be used in selection of a stock. In stock market, there is no such ratio which can only be used in selection of a particular stock. With other ratio, you can also depend PE ratio for selection of your stock. In today's video, I will be explaining you the meaning, the usage, the calculation procedure, the types and the interpretation of PE ratio. Let's just start. What do you mean by PE ratio? What does the letter P stands for and what does the letter E stands for? Let us just examine that. The letter P stands for price, that is the current market price of a particular stock. What do you mean by current market price? Current market price is the price at which the particular stock is being traded at the stock market. Then what does the letter E stand for? The letter E stands for earning. Earning means earnings per share. So, in short, the price to earning ratio is the ratio for valuing a company that measures its current market price to its earnings per share. So, let us move to the next part, that is how to calculate the PE ratio. Before we get into the calculation procedure of PE ratio, we should understand what is EPS. EPS means earnings per share. By earnings per share, we mean the amount each shareholder gains in a year. Normally, companies declare their results on quarterly basis. So earnings per share will be different on quarterly basis, will be different once the company declares its quarterly results. So now we move to the next part, that is how to calculate PE. Before we get into this, let us understand the calculation procedure of earnings per share. By earnings per share, we mean the amount each shareholder gains in a year. Normally, companies declare their result on quarterly basis and the earnings per share will also change on quarterly basis. Actually, this is calculated on TTM basis, which I am explaining on later part of this video. To calculate earnings per share, you need to follow the following formula. That is, earnings per share is equal to net profit after tax minus dividend divided by number of shares. Once this is done, we will have the earnings per share of a share. When we divide the current market price of a particular stock with the earnings per share of that particular stock, we will have the PE of that company. Let me describe this with the help of a live example. In this case, the current market price is 179.15 and the EPS is 16.23. So when we divide 179.15 by 16.25, we have the PE, that is 11.04. Hope this calculation part is clear to you. Now we can move to the most important part of PE ratio, that is the interpretation part. This section will explain you how this PE ratio is used in selection of a stock. Like I mentioned, this tool is helpful to you to determine whether the price of a stock is overpriced or underpriced. How can we do that? For that, normally we have to compare the company PE with that of industry PE. When we scroll down on the valuation part, we can see the company PE. In the case of SBI, it is 11.04 and the industry PE is 13.15. So we have to compare the company PE with that of industry PE, and we have to compare the company PE with that of peers. So what do you mean by industry PE? Industry PE is nothing but the average PE of an industry. In this case, SBI, we know it comes under public sector bank industry. So in this case, the industry PE is the average PE of public sector banks, which is 13.15 at this time. So this public sector bank, in public sector bank sector, we know Indian Bank will be there, Union Bank will be there, then Canara Bank will be there, IDBI Bank will be there. So many of such banks will come under this public sector bank industry. So the average PE of all these banks is calculated as 13.15. This is what we have to compare with the company PE. And the other thing, that is the peers. Peers means the other companies which comes under the same kind of business, or the other companies who is running the same kind of business. So we have to compare the company PE with both industry PE and the PE of other companies, that is the peers. So in this case, when we compare the SBI's PE, that is 11.04, with that of industry PE 13.15, we can assess that the PE of SBI is lesser than that of industry PE. That means the price of SBI is much bit better than that of other companies which comes under the same industry. So this means the price of SBI is bit under or underpriced. Now we have to compare the PE of the present company with that of peer companies. So like I just explained to you, peer company means those companies which run the same kind of business. In this case, Canara Bank, Indian Bank, IDBI, etc. are the peers. So let us compare the SBI PE with that of Canara and Indian Bank. Here is that details of Canara Bank. So in the case of Canara Bank, the company PE is 31.92, whereas the industry PE remains the same, that is 13.15. It is same for SBI, Indian Bank, Canara Bank, IDBI Bank, which comes under the same sector. So when we compare the Canara Bank PE with that of industry PE, we can see that the Canara Bank PE is very much on the higher side. That means the price of Canara Bank is overpriced, whereas the price of SBI is underpriced. Let us take the example of Indian Bank. In the case of Indian Bank, look at this, the industry PE remains the same, that is 13.15, whereas the PE of Indian Bank is 7.88. So we can assume that this Indian Bank price, that is 54.55, which is very much on the lower side. So we have to compare this company's PE with that of industry PE as well as this peer companies. So when we compare Canara Bank's PE, that is 31.92 with of SBI 11.04, we can assume that buying SBI is far better than buying Canara Bank if other indicators or if other fundamental profit side and other companies' performance is good. So we can just assume like this. So this explains. So when we just compare with the peer companies, we can have an idea whether this particular stock is overpriced or underpriced. And like I mentioned to you earlier, this is only a tool which helps you to determine whether the price is overpriced or underpriced. So we have to compare many other things before making a decision. So this is how we can interpret PE ratio. So before we move to the next part, let me just explain another scenario. The stock market is very much sensitive to the news. So when a bad news happens in the market, that can bring down the price of a particular stock. So at that time, when we look at that, the PE may change drastically, or maybe it shows that the price of a particular stock is very much on the lower side or maybe on the higher side. So this won't give you a correct signal, as this happened only because of the news in the market. And also, higher the PE doesn't mean that the price of a particular stock is very much on the higher side. So we can just interpret it in another way. So let's just take the example of Canara Bank. Canara Bank, the EPS is showing as 3.25 rupees. So to earn 3.25 rupees, the investor is ready to spend 103.75 rupees per share. So he is ready to pay 31.92 times to earn this 3.25 rupees. So this also shows the confidence in this share for the traders to spend this much. So higher the PE doesn't mean that this particular stock is priced on the higher side. It also shows the confidence in buying this particular stock for that particular price. So it is better to understand that PE means to earn this much, we are ready to pay the current market price. In the SBI case, it was 11.04 times, but in the case of Canara Bank, it is around 32 times. So we have to compare other technical and fundamental indicators before making a decision. Only comparing or only considering PE won't help you to make a correct decision. So, but in short, we can just say that higher the PE, higher the price. Hope everything is clear till now. So we are moving to the last part of this video, that is types of PE. There are two types of PE calculation methods, and the one is based on the past data, that is called trailing PE, and the other one is based on the forward data, that is the assumption or the predicted data, that is called the forward PE. Let us examine what is trailing PE. Trailing PE is popularly known as TTM, that means trailing 12-month PE. So to calculate that PE, we'll take the data of last 12 months, and based on that data we'll formulate this PE. So that is called TTM. When I was talking about this PE in this video, I just told you that I will be explaining this TTM on the later part of the video. This is what TTM is all about, trailing 12 months PE. So for that, to calculate that PE, we'll take 12 months data, past data, and for future PE, that is forward PE, will take the data on the basis of assumption or the prediction of coming PE, so future PEs. So depending on forward PE is not at all a sense, because it is formulated on the basis of future data, which is always unpredictable. So but the TTM, that is trailing 12-month PE, is highly dependable, as it is based on the real data, past data of last 12 months. So these all are the two types of PE, that is TTM, trailing PE, and the other one is forward PE. So hope everything is cleared regarding PE. If you find these videos interesting and useful for you, you just don't forget to subscribe my channel. Lot of such videos are coming down, so click that subscribe channel, click that bell icon to get the notification on real time. Thank you very much.